Swamiji, my question is this. When we deal with worldly problems, then we have got hundreds of problems on hand every day. Just by having a regulated prana movement by pranayama, can we achieve bliss? Well, what about the solving of the problems?
That's a wonderful question. A very practical, straightforward question. We have thousands of problems. How to solve the problems? How to come out, have a solution? Just regulating the breath, can it solve our problems? It's a wonderful question. Before answering this question, I would like to say a few words. Somebody came and asked me, Swamiji, to achieve the bliss, should I renounce everything? Do I need to give up everything to achieve bliss? I told him, no, you don't need to give up anything. Just give up what you don't have, that's enough. There is no need to give up what you have. Whatever you have, please leave it. Just give up what you don't have. Our suffering mainly is created because of the things which we don't have, we wanted to have. Which we don't have, but we always wanted to have. The real suffering starts with our fantasies, not with the real life. Now, let us come to your question. Your question means lot of things you need to solve, lot of things you need to think, lot of situations you need to handle. How can I be blissful? If I am blissful, will these problems be solved? Let me ask you a question. If you are suffering, will the problems be solved? Can you solve the same problems just by suffering? Surely not. So already you live based on a particular theory. You live with some theory, some proposal. As far as your logic concerned, your bringing up concern, according to me, all bringing up is bringing down, not bringing up. It's only so-called bringing up. So according to our logic, we say if we think, suffer again and again, torture ourselves, worry, we can solve the problems. That's what is our usual belief. Understand this one thing. The more you think, the more you start worrying, you create more problems. Most of the time, there's a beautiful saying. It's not only saying, it's a truth. 99% of our worries never come true. Whatever 1% comes true is always good for us. I was trying to do a small research about this solving the problem and spirituality. We collected a small group of people, 30 to 40 people. I wanted them to pen down their worries. They started writing down. I told them to keep the slip. After 6 months, again we had a gathering. I wanted everyone to come up and say how many of their worries have become true. And you will be shocked and surprised. Maximum is only 20%. If they have written 100 worries, only maximum 20% has come true. Other 80% of their energy is just wasted in unnecessary brooding over. If you look into your life with little bit of intelligence, without any prejudice, no prejudice about particular space, about a particular time. If you just look at every moment, there is a continuous energy and intelligence to solve the problem. First thing. One more thing. When you don't believe continuous intelligence working in you, naturally you create more problems. One more simple example, simple thing to be understood. You lived at least 50 years already. Have you lived without problems? No, you had enough of problems. But you survived, you lived, you solved, that is why you are here. You are living. If you have lived the 50 years of problems, can't you live the 50 years more? And now you have 50 years of experience. So naturally, you can live. The moment you get the confidence, I can live without disturbing myself. Two ways of solving the problems are there. One is disturbing yourself and finding the solution. Another one is without disturbing yourself, finding the solution. But I propose, I am not saying you don't find solution for your problems. Find. But when you start living inside the bliss, when you start living with a particular cycle of prana, prana which creates bliss, the prana which creates a deep joy in you, the bliss in you, that particular rhythm, with that way when you start living, when you start living with bliss, when you start living with a blissful mood, naturally your intelligence works much, much more than your normal intelligence. Your regular mental thinking. That's a beautiful research. The dopamine means the chemical which happens in your neurological system when you are in a blissful mood, when you enter into a bliss, with reason or without reason. If you enter into a blissful mood, the particular chemical starts happening in your brain, in your neurological system. They say, whenever the chemical happens in your system, the body naturally comes out of depression and it rejuvenates itself to live for a long time. The immune system gets strengthened. If you look a little deep, bliss brings you tremendous energy to face and solve the problems. First thing, when you are not blissful, your energy is spent in creating more and more problems, creating more and more troubles for yourself. If you are blissful, first thing you disconnect your energy going towards worrying, the channel of worrying. Second thing, the same energy has become a creative energy to create a feeling of blissfulness in you. Naturally, you will have a tremendous spontaneity to solve your troubles. And this is a beautiful understanding from the research. They say, when the dopamine is released in your system, the frontal lobe, what the doctors claim, the frontal lobe is the main reason for your attention, wisdom, intelligence and decision making capacity. For all these things, the frontal lobe is in charge. The scientists, they very clearly prove when the dopamine chemical, which creates a blissful mood in you, or otherwise, when you create a blissful mood in you, the dopamine chemical is released. When the chemical is released, the frontal lobe starts working tremendously. It just comes to such a peak, you start getting clear vision. Now they are coming up with a new idea, intuitive management. No more intellectual. Because intellect creates only more and more complications. When you work through intellect, you create only more and more complications. One word is understood in a different way. There's a small story. Boss is having a meeting with his colleagues. They are preparing to give a farewell for one of their employees. He started speaking. Tomorrow we are going to honor a person who doesn't know the word disloyalty, who doesn't know the meaning of the word tiredness, who never know the word of tiredness or disloyalty. What should we present? What should we get in? Guys stood up and asked, answer a good dictionary. The words can be understood in a different way. The logic, the intellect is not going to solve the bigger problems. As long as the problems are very small, intellect is more than enough. As long as you are working with the silly things, your logic is enough to solve them. But when you really wanted to solve, when you really wanted to dissolve, if you just wanted to solve, you can play with the logic. If you really wanted to dissolve, you need intuition. Now they are coming up with a new concept, intuitive management. Of course, what I say may look impractical. Immediately you think, oh, one more KV Swami is proposing. But please be a little patient. And I am not proposing this as a theory. I give you a small technique. Just try for next 48 hours. Let me be blissful. Dropping out from my concepts, dropping out from my way of working. That's a beautiful Sanskrit words, two words, pravritti and nivritti. When you associate your bliss with a particular space and time, you work in the way of pravritti. When you associate your bliss with a subjective experience, you work in the way of nivritti. Bogi and yogi. When you associate it with the outside world, space and time, you work with the way of pravritti. Now our mind works in the way of pravritti. You constantly worry about your day-to-day affairs, day-to-day situations, day-to-day activities. I tell you, just for 48 hours, not more than that. 48 hours, just take my word and try to relax from the pravritti setup. Surely in 48 hours we won't die. In 48 hours we won't make 48 hours is not a big risk. You may think, no, next 48 hours if I don't think about my problems, if I don't find solutions, if I don't solve, then what will happen? Just for 48 hours, if you can relax from the mental setup of pravritti, I assure it is not only from my experience. I am working with thousands of people who are in the worldly life. In last 2 years, I have seen 2.5 lakh people individually. So from that experience, I tell you, when you drop from pravritti, something called higher intelligence, intuition takes over your problems. Of course, it may look like a fairy tale. You may think that it's just a theory. How can we practically drop all our worries? How can we practically drop our day-to-day life? I tell you, just for 48 hours try to drop. I don't say drop once for all. Try to drop 48 hours. You will see a new understanding starts rising in you. We have never given chance for God in our life. Please be very clear. We have never given chance for bliss in our life. We have never given chance for higher intelligence in our life. Just for 48 hours. 48 hours can never be a big risk. Even if something goes wrong in 48 hours, next day you can make it all right. Next 48 hours, just try. That's a beautiful saying in Tantra. Ananda Kamranaha means the bliss just attracts the fortune. Bliss tremendously, the full force attracts the fortune. You bring down Lakshmi, fortune, to your life when you are blissful. We may think the other way. How can bliss bring fortune? When you are really blissful, your intelligence works in an intuitive way. You become more sharp. Or you have your own theory of continuously scrambling with the day-to-day life, continuously working with your own intellect. You worked at least last 50 years with your intellect. What it has given? It has given only suffering. Now, I am not asking you to spend 50 years. Next 50 hours, just sincerely drop your pravritti mental setup. Drop your pravritti mental setup and next 48 hours decide, I am not going to think of any of my problems. I am not going to work to solve any of my problems. I am just going to relax. Let me see what happens. You will see tremendous intelligence rising in you. This is a technique which I have learned for thousands of people and I had a feedback. I have never seen a single person suffering from this technique. Everybody learns at least one lesson. One lesson is more than enough for this 1.5 hours discourse. One lesson is more than enough. I am not interested in giving you a big theory. I am not interested in giving you a big philosophy. Just one lesson. Next 48 hours, try to drop. Try to relax. I know for sure. Surely you will learn at least one lesson. Dropping does some way something good in your being. The moment the mental setup changes, the moment it starts towards a nivriti, existence tremendously helps you. You can see in your life, just scan your life. Whenever you achieve something big, whenever you have taken a quantum leap, you can always see there was a moment of bliss or a gap in your pravritti system. If there is no gap in your pravritti system, you will be only gradually growing. If you achieve something solid in your life, it is only when you take quantum leaps, never by logical growth. By growing in a horizontal way, even if you travel in a uphill, you cannot go higher. But by taking the vertical line, taking the quantum leap, you can simply fly. Just trust this one concept. Next 48 hours, I am not asking for more. Drop from your mental setup. Relax from your mental setup. You will see that the life, the energy teaches you. When one glimpse if you have the bliss of relaxation and the silence, naturally you will see your life is taking its own course. You have enough of intelligence to solve the problems. The very question comes from the idea that you don't have enough intelligence to solve your problems. If you experience a single moment of bliss, you will have a tremendous confidence on yourself. You will have a tremendous trust on your spontaneity. Trusting your spontaneity is a real faith. Many people come and ask me, Swamiji, should I believe in this God? Should I believe in that God? Should I believe in this deity? And should I believe in that too? I tell them, first believe in your spontaneity. Believe in your capacity to solve the problems. Believe your capacity to live the life. That's the first belief, or first faith which you need to have. First believe the capacity, the ability to solve your problems. You have tremendous spontaneity in you. The ability to take the responsibility. The ability to act spontaneously is what I call responsibility.